Today, continuing on in the jQuery and Google Maps series, I'll be looking at the jMapping plugin. Essentially, this plugin allows you to create dynamic Google Maps using HTML syntax as your base and jQuery to get a lot of the legwork done. If you're looking for the plugin, you can find it at vijetlabs.github.com/jmapping. From here you can get the latest zip or the tar from the GitHub repository. There are a couple of dependencies that this plugin has. One is the jQuery metadata plugin for custom metadata and adding it to elements, the market manager, as well as the map icon maker. For me, there were a number of features that I felt were worthwhile. And let's take a look. One of them was the simplicity and ease to set this up. If we just look at the code to get started, you need the div element or whatever your element's going to be, as well as the unique selector or selector that you're going to have for the map to show in. The next thing you're going to have is the sidebar, which will contain the links that will correspond to the markers on your map. Just real quick, you notice this data element, so we add extra metadata for each marker using this, and if you see, it has the unique ID, the point that it should appear in its longitude and latitude, as well as a category if we had different types of markers to put on our map, which is very handy. So we scroll down, and taking a look at what it takes to initialize this, we see that we've got the map.jmapping, where map is the ID of the map element, and this is what we get. Fully rendered Google Map with 3 icons corresponding to the HTML that we put up in there. So if we click on the icon, an info bubble appears and it corresponds to the HTML. If you click on the name, we'll see that there's a transition to that icon, as well as the info bubble popping up. Very good. Another thing that is pretty interesting is that these will degrade gracefully because they are based on HTML, so you won't have a big mess in case JavaScript is turned off. Another feature which I felt pretty handy was the ability to have custom selectors for your various elements. So for example, you could pass in an ID. Here you see they're using the jQuery first selector in case we had multiple maps. We can also specify a CSS class where we can put that in. So there are a number of ways to actually get the map to display and configured. Another feature which I liked was the ability to handle some fairly decent sized result set. Here we have a couple of results which should be enough for proof of concept, as well as an ID and an element with an ID rather, where we can have our paging, and the markup is pretty straightforward, and here's the final result. So we had about 6 results in our HTML, and as usual, if we click on the name, pop-up window appears and the info bubble. However, notice what happens when you click next. It moves to the next set of results. We have the exploratorium and acne bread. If we click on the name, there we go, and here's the best part. On the last result, you'll notice that the map has changed considerably. It's a more zoomed in view. If we click on the name, we'll see we get the info bubble as usual, and if we hit previous, it will then render the next page result. So that's pretty good. The final thing which I really liked was the ability to control the map types. So here they simply set the map type to hybrid with a couple of lines of JavaScript, and here we go, the map type is changed, yet we can still interact with it in the same way. So when we click a name, you notice the info box will also appear, or if we click an icon, we have the same result. So again, this is the jMapping plugin. You can find more information about it on the blog post associated with